Okay, good evening. I'm Kamala Gunawandana, professionally highway consultant and a council member. So I'm chairing this year the Civil Engineering Sectional Committee. And before coming to today's event, I'll take a minute from you all to brief you what we are doing from the Civil Engineering Sectional Committee. Actually, we do a lot of technical programs like today, and Tuesday and Thursdays we do that, and non-technical presentations mainly on Wednesdays. So we do CPDs, field visits, and CSR programs like that. So I request you all to come out with appropriate topics and to join with us. Actually, today is fully Zoom platform, but we are doing a lot of physical events as well. So I suggest you all to be with us with the Civil Engineering Sectional Committee. So today's presentation is under the essential for effective contract administration in government and private sector contracts, a timely appropriate area that our participants as the civil engineers, you will entertain right now. Appreciate Engineer Himali Kadwa's mediation in this, and as the leader of the non-technical subcommittee of Civil Engineering Sectional Committee. Actually, he will do the balance proceedings today. Let me introduce the resource person today. He is actually not a stranger. He did exactly 1 year before also a very good webinar. So he is Engineer Brigadier K.D. Pereira, a chartered civil engineer with over 40 years of experience. He has held several positions in engineering in Sri Lanka Army and later as the Director Engineering Services of the Sri Lanka Army. He is a well-established personality doing many social activities as well. Being an engineer and has ended up in the rank of Brigadier in Sri Lanka Army. Engineer Brigadier Pereira has served as a council member continuously from 2006 to 12 of the IESL and in the Civil Engineering Sectional Committee as well. He has been a resource person at seminars conducted by the IESL on contract administration and so on. While being a regular contributor to various forums on contract administration, procurement, guidelines, financial regulations, etc., he is very active in the development activities of the construction industry. With this remark and without further ado, I invite Engineer Brigadier K.D. Pereira to take over the Zoom platform. Participants, please enjoy and thank you everyone. Over to you, Brigadier.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much for your kind words. Right. Right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can.
Right. Now I have to go to the screen. Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Can you see this? Can you see the screen?
We can see.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Can see.
Now we'll start. Now subject is essential for effective contract administration, and all that is given there. Now references are told, and I am adding a new guide. The guide issued by the Ministry of Finance in February 2017. In this presentation, I'll be speaking on certain things from the guideline given by the Ministry of Finance. Right. Okay. Now all that is there. Fine. Okay. Right. Okay. Fine. Now this is conducted on the following duties of the employer. Blah blah. What is there? Right. Okay. Participants' requirements. I told chief accounting officers, district secretaries, government agents, and all that is given here, and they should have been here for this. I invited them for this presentation. Always we address the engineers, consultants, contractors, but the many are coming from with this lecture. I'm always talking about the head of department, secretary, and all that. Fine. Successful completion of construction project depends collectively responsible and partnering practice by the parties. Consultant or engineer is not a party to the contract. Right? The contractor sign a document, and we'll see this slide. Now this slide says procurement entity shall use the appropriate SPDs approved by the NPA with minimum changes If there are any to address contract provisions, it should be given only in the bidding data and contract data or through special conditions, and not by introducing changes to the standard bidding standard works of the SBDs. Now, these are the four. Now, this is the biggest issue in this country today. The standard conditions of contract are changed, and that has created an issue on that. So that is my main topic. That's right. Now, I request the employer side to be more here, but anyway, we'll proceed. Right. I'm showing this slide earlier specifications, precise and clear specifications. These are requirements. These are requirements for the preparation of the bidding documents. Only if this is done, the objectives of economy, efficiency, and fairness in procurement be realized. Reciprocity of bids ensured, and the subsequent tasks of evaluation be facilitated. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Is that clear? Document is, can you see? I want somebody to speak.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine,
Yes,
fine. Right. In additional responsibility, the authority given by the client consultant, public servants have, they are designated client's authorized representative and the consultant's authorized representative. And I'm talking about this particular book, established code, financial regulations, guidelines, all those things are required when we are doing a contract in the government department, especially public finance circulars. All those things are required when you are doing adjudication and all that. We have to consider all these regulations and then decide on that. Now, there are certain circulars that have been repealed. We'll see what is these repealed circulars. Now, this is a public finance circular issued in 2011. Then make a single and gahala tiyenne. Then make a kiyana there are 404 has been repealed. Has been repealed. However, they say මේක සිංහලෙන් කියන්නේ මෙම චක්‍රලේඛන මෙතෙක් විධිමත් පරිදි අංක වශයෙන් අවලංගු නොකිරීම හේතුවෙන් ඇතැම් රාජ්‍ය නිලධාරීන් මෙම උපදෙස් අනුගමනය කිරීමෙන් හෝ අනුගමනය කරන ලෙස උපදෙස් දීමෙන් විවිධ සංග්‍රහතා different issues have come up, and therefore, right, so one who has been repealed, but until there's another alternative for that, these circulars are in force. That is the issue. In this paper, the writer wishes to bring the essentials and mandatory responsibility of the client, contract, and the consultant. I am bringing another auditor and the accountant and SLS officers for the successful completion of project. The first one, I am going to speak on these laws applicable to the procurement actions. Now, recently there's a supplementary now issue by the Ministry of Finance. This has created a very big issue. This has created a very big issue, right? Now it says this Public Contract Act number 3 of 18 is applicable, right? Anyway, we'll see what is the outcome of this circular, right? It is given in the papers. More than 5 million has to be entered, has to be registered. Though this document has been published by the Minister of Finance, they are even not aware of the ambiguity created in this document. Why did the employer and the consultant get the advice from the registrar of companies before publishing the requirement document in the bidding data? Is it essential requirement? Form PCA 3? We'll see what is the answer. Only the winners shall submit before signing the contract agreement. Presently, some government entities are required this to be submitted before the closing of the bid, right? What it says is the main tenderer is not required to register. We refer to the circular, right? Okay, we see. I will just go through only one. This is a letter from the registrar of companies. A principal tenderer is not required to register. The meva mehema tiyagana, it is coming up in the invitation bids. It is coming up in the invitation bids, right? So registrar company says a principal tender is not required to register under the Act. I have taken up this matter through the IESL chairman, and we have gone up to the public finance, and they told that this circular will be abolished, but still nothing has happened. Right? Okay. Only thing I saw in one of the papers, I must not mention, that Director Procurement has only requested winners to get registered, not otherwise. That is correct, because winners must be registered. That is required by the register companies, but they are databases, not the entire 10 or 15 just getting registered. Now, this is another paper, Cabinet Paper, 1988. What does it say? Therefore, this Act is not applicable to main tenderer. But still, I see that in the papers it is coming up. What I say is the supplement 13 must be Treasury must abolish this prevent creation. If there are any public, anybody listening from the Minister of Finance can question me as it's wrong, I am going to take up this matter. Right, I'll remove this statement. I hope that some other officers from the Minister of Finance is listening to this lecture. Right? He's talking about them, right? Please correct this ambiguity for the contract, submit the bid document correctly. I just want to make a case of this. Recently, there was a tender and the contractor, 5 contractors could not submit this statement. And what is the outcome? They gave the tender board TC members recommend 50 million above. This project, this paper is taking on 1,500 rupees. They recommended 50 million above. This is all public money. Thanks to the appeal board, they reversed that. They said it's not required. But still, I can see it is coming up in the paper, something wrong somewhere. These are the pre-contract practices, right? All that is there. So I visit pre-bid meeting, modifications. Now, minimum number of days. I am taking this from the 5310. Always when we see 25 and 250 will take the GSL funds. Bid validity period is 91 days. When you add 28, it becomes 990. But don't look at the foreign fund and GSL fund. That's not area. Now, recently I saw in the papers, they wanted 90 days. Right? Now, somebody is raising hand, but I had told I will answer all that. Engineer Himal Kumara will take up these matters after my lecture when it completed at 8 o'clock. Right? I will answer all that time. So now 91 plus, or otherwise it should be 119 in the paper. Even I find it is not given correctly in the paper. Somebody is making a mistake, and there's a reason 90, and there's a confusion about there was a delay in sorting out this 90 and 91 days. And I don't want to go further in that, but anyway, please ensure these things are given correctly in the invitation bids. Right? Now these are all required. Submission of bid security. Right? So bid security submissions are there. They have told 5311, option 1 and option 2. And they say 1 to 2% must be taken, right? Okay, fine. Bidding period as given here is given in the procurement guideline. No one can change these things. Always we find 21 days bidding period. Right? Okay, various things are there. I have taken all from the procurement guidelines. That is the required. And I am told I am taking about another public finance circular. There's an important thing coming up here. Right? Comes up here. It says on demand. Right? On demand. And most important thing is that in the circular, the head of department is asking, is that contract period realistic? Contract period. And also he's asking, because if they are going to terminate the contract or do anything, he's asking whether the contracts are deliberately and purposely delayed the project. So all those things are here. I just want to show that circular. This is how we have obtained guarantees. I have just drawn this chart account SPDC1. You get the base date, invitation bids, site visit, pre-bid meeting, clarification documents, addenda, bidding period 21 days, closing of bid, form of bid 1 to 2%. Then the TC members must see that though it is 91 days, they should complete the TC report by 45 days. It is given in that guideline. They can that 7.4 and 7.5 because before the expiry of the bid valid period, the letter of acceptance must be given. So they must make sure that it is given. But the employer requires other 45 days to get some approvals and all that. So I appeal to the TC members, see that this is done without any fail. So letter of acceptance must be given. Then I should be right. Then once you get the letter of acceptance, performance security must come, insurance must come, site position must come, commencement days must come, then the agreement sign, all that. Still, I find sometimes this site position is not given. Commencement date sometimes is not given in the letter of acceptance. Very unfortunate situation. Agreement is not signed within 28 days. They postpone it. I don't know why. Normally, they say if your agreement must be signed, the copy should be given in advance to the contractors to read and come. That has not been given. Then after that, you get the limit of retention, 50%, all that, blah, blah, there. Contract period, DLPs, then security period. Right? Then the performance security is on the commencement date after the right. Okay. Bid valid period and the security period. I just mentioned about that. Other thing is this in this document, authority in whose favor the bid security is issued. No one knows. Sometimes they say project director, sometimes they say chairman, sometimes they say various names are there, or secretary. It should be clearly stated. Now, in one of these bid security forms, I saw this, right? I didn't want to show all that, but I find some apart from the approved our format, the bank has issued the statement. So I just got it from certain contractor because this is not correct. This is not correct. So you have to see that this is these documents are done properly and without fail. When you are collecting this document from the bank, see that what is given in our standard format must be there. Letter of acceptance, all that is given there, right? We'll see what is this letter of acceptance.
Excuse me, Brigadier, can
Yes.
participants ask their questions or because there's a raise hand? Is it okay?
I told that I will speak up to the 8 p.m. Let them, that him will come one by one, then I will answer. Right?
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Fine. Now, in this letter of acceptance, it's very important. This letter of acceptance should be free from new conditions. So, මම මෙහෙම දකිනවා මේකේ new conditions කියලා කියන්නේ මම දකිනවා මේක සිංහලෙන් ලියන්නේ අනිත් එක ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙන්නේ අනවශ්‍යව මෙතන වැටලා තියෙනවා. Now it says don't write, right? No new conditions. Sometimes they go and write something in here and then obstructing the general conditions of contract. So those who are doing that, please careful in this matter. Now, other thing is now in this commencement date must be given by the employee. Sometimes I find it is not given. Then performance security. ඒකත් කියන්නේ හරියට. Then better thing is to get the performance within 7 days. Because 28 days is there. If it goes beyond that, contractors they will not come. Sometimes personally they must be right to avoid this. Because they are selected the best tender. What if the other tenders have got another good tender, they might leave. And other thing is authorized signature. authorized signature. But be careful in this authorized signature. And I also have various things so that when you are writing all that, that should be done properly. Another thing is 8.91. This is a very important, what do you call, guideline. Now, these contract agreements are signed by authorities given below. Up to 25 million, it is given here. Up to 100 million, it is given here. Up to 500 and more than 500. So this has to be practiced. If the employee is the secretary of the ministry is going to sign all that. But in the normally during the what do you call during the by January, the secretary or the employer must delegate these authority to the branches. So that is how it is happening. Otherwise, the secretaries can't come and sign this for 25 million contracts, right? Okay. Whenever available, standard form of agreement approved by NP shall be used. Right. Okay. Performance security, I will not show all that now. We'll come back to the right, all that is there. Variations. We'll submit all that in the variation something, right? I have a word here, extension of time and time at large. Now that is another issue. Now in these days, when you are going for adjudication, that the word is coming, time at large. So extension of time has to be given. Some sort of must be given, otherwise the contractors will say the contract has become time at large, and therefore I can complete the job in a reasonable time. So this has to be discussed, right? This is what I have noted and I have put it here. And those are the things that is required. Then the, what do you call this, performance security, right? Okay, and given. Early warning is very important. Engineer decisions are very important, has to be given. Engineer decisions, standard bidding documents. I have mentioned all that here, but anyway, we'll see this slide again. What is required is this. Are you using standard bidding documents? I'm asking the audience, especially the employers and the yes. If so, what is the document? Then they say SPD 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. Minister of Finance again. If so, did changes to fall in line with its guidelines? The main karna deka follow කරන්න හරියට. දැන් මෙතන කතා කරොත් එහෙම මට එකක් කියන්න guideline එක කියලා තිනවා price setting clause එක මාස දෙක වෙන්න දෙන්න කියලා. දැන් එහෙම තියාගෙන මේ කියනවා not applicable කියලා. I don't know, I can't understand how the TCs are approving this document. That's a very important thing. Changes must fall in line with the guidelines. No one can say these conditions are contract, procurement. No, all that is going together. No one can say. These are another role of the accountant. This is a very important thing. Now, when you have this authorization, now I have that in this accountants are there. Right? Now, the authorizing officer and the certifying officer must compare and reconcile and see at least whether funds are available. And in this situation, the engineer must inform the accountant that this, right, for this month, he is doing a job of work for so much. Please ensure this bill is coming after 35 days. Please see that it is you have to pay, right? So can't see open. What is that? Why do can't you see this slide? Can't see. Somebody has put can't see open. What do you mean by that? Himal, any questions? Any questions?
Questions.
Now, any question in this? Now right, okay, fine. So now this is a requirement for the engineer and the accountant to behave properly, because sometimes I hear that sometimes the accountant says that the bills are just come and thrown into the table. There's no information about that, right? So therefore, please ensure this is done properly. Contract administration, right? Now already we talk about cost, time, quality, and performance, right? Okay. So these are the things that is standard things. But the response of the contract and function of contract admits the contract signed between the parties, namely the client and the contract. Therefore, the contract administrator is a person charged with daily administrative duty. Then this is the situation. What is the daily administrative duty done by the contract administration? We know contractors do it, but we're asking the employer, right? Contract administrator must do certain work for the employer because he's the employer's personnel. He must maintain records. If there are any claims are coming, then all that must be done. But anyway, if you have the records correctly, very easy to give a decision on that matter. Now, since the contract being an employer's personnel, employer has an obligation due to see whether the engineer or consultant does the delegated function. I don't know whether the employer is asking this question from the engineer. Employer's personnel. He has an obligation to see whether the consultant are doing their daily functions. Right? Okay, fine. Some lights are going on. The primary duty of the contract administrator is to monitor contractual terms and conditions. What is the work done must be measured in accordance with principles. However, I am putting this word in red. Measure accurately, certify correctly. 21 days for the engineer. Right? Okay? Right. Now, why I put this one? When I take a lecture in the Srida, one of the accountants told me the measurements are wrong. So I couldn't give a correct answer. But anyway, I'm telling the contract administrator or the consultants or the engineer, see that the measurements are done accurately and certified correctly and within 21 days. However, the payment certificate accurately for the employer certificate for the employer to pay contractor within 14 days. Certify accurately. Measure accurate, right? Measure accurately, certify correctly. In other words, he should ensure both parties meet the obligations, no more, no less. In industry, the admin function by the consultant, engineer, architect. Engineer for the project should recognize and accept that they always have a responsibility to the public, right? They have a responsibility to the public, right? And very important role to play. They must do their administration fairly, equitably, impartially, in order to minimize delays. Impartially, the co-ethical element in contract administration. I say again, impartially, the co-ethical element in contract administration. While rights and obligations parts of the contract are maintained. Contract administrator shall act with honor, integrity, and dignity, principles and values. My last thing is, how many hours of attendance at the site? Consultants, employer must know these things. How many hours of attendance at the site? Letter of acceptance, I just mentioned about that. They see that it is done properly, right? Okay, that's not so much, right? I have shown all that circulars. Award of contract. Now, this is an important thing. Prior to contract award, the procurement entity should ensure funds are available to meet the cost of contract. දැන් මට ළඟදී කතාවක් හම්බ වෙනවා employer කියනවා සල්ලි නැහැ කියලා. How to get the budget provisions here? Now they are මොනවද සිංහලෙන් කිව්වොත් එන්න මේවා ඔක්කොම violate කරනවනේ. When you are signing a contract, you must ensure all that. ඉතින් සිංහලෙන් ලියලා තිබුණේ මුදල් ගන්න විදිය මම දන්නේ නැහැ. So these are very important things that I don't want to mention the names of the ministries or other places, but that is the situation. Advanced procurement action should not be commenced without a firm commitment of funds. Now this circular is very old, 2001. Have make it here? However, before awarding the contract, the head of the department must ensure that funds are available. After awarding, don't come and say that we don't have funds. They are completely violating the procurement guidelines and all that. Right? Letter of acceptance should be issued within the valid period. I have explained all that to you. Source of funds. I mentioned this in the source of funds. In the bidding, when you see the instrument bidders, it is there. Employer must provide reasonable evidence that the financial arrangements are being made and are being maintained to enable him to pay the contractor punctually. But of course, these days there's issue. But otherwise, if not paid, but anyway, they are talking of financial prevention, breach of contractor by the employer. If there's employer, right? This I'm referring to the employer. Financial prevention, breach by the employer. It must be mentioned that the constitutional government has a constitutional responsibility to ensure that proceeds of funds allocated to state organizations are used only for that purpose and with economy and efficiency. Right? So I'm just mentioning all that things. For one thing I just mentioned, right? So we go to the next slide. Performance security is all given here. These are all circulars. It is 5%. Contract them and submit within 14 days. Right? Then make conditions given. Letter acceptance and bring it within 7 days. After the contract is ordered, the contract is also waiting to bring the performance security and finish it off. Right? So these are all circulars that is connected with the with the performance security issue. Right? But anyway, there's a new circular has come on this guarantees supplementary 2016. Right? Now all that is given 544, 546, 548 is all given here with the same thing, right? Right. I just want to make a small statement here. The procurement entity should note that in the event of an extension of time completion, the P would need to request an extension of this guarantee from the guarantor. But request must be in writing and must be made before the expiration of the guarantee. Right? Okay? Fine. Somebody is writing, we can't see the, is there anything that, is there, can you share the screen? Yes or no?
We can see the screen.
Right,
we can see
okay,
the
fine.
screen, sir.
Right, okay, fine. Performance security is under cost 52, that's the same thing, right? Now, I will show this slide. Right, okay. That's right. Bonds and guarantees issued by the guarantee construction guarantee fund. So we have to get the bonds from them. Right. So these are some of the things just mentioned. Only the performance certificate will deem to constitute acceptance of the works. Anything below 2 million, they say waive out the performance security. Encashment. Now, this is the most important thing. Encashment of performance guarantee. Now, if there is any termination or something, immediately the contract employer goes and lodge the transfer the what you call encash the performance and the advance. Now, the circular says is asking that whether the contract is realistic. And no, he is satisfied that the contractor has delayed the contract deliberately, perpetually, then not be claimed. And further, it says, if the contractor has done some work in the bills in hand, that should be deducted and then claimed for the 5%. Recently, there's a seminar in the ICTAT. Somebody said me they have taken the entire thing. They have done so 75%, 80%. They have taken the entire guarantees, full amount. If they are taken full amount, it's the best practices. You must return that money back to the contractor. Now, there's a statement like this. However, before the performance security is called for, it is prudent to copy notifications of the contract sureties for their information necessary action. Right? Before they call, the employer must write to the bank, because the bank and the employer had this agreement. Then he can say that the contract is not working. I am compelled to encash it unless the contractor does not make any effort. Due performance is all that is given there, right? So this side is simple. So time is of essence. Therefore, just because a delay does not conflict, right? Breach. Claims under performance security, I am making all that. Same thing. My question is this. Who shall have the authority to sign the letter of encashment? Who shall have the authority? Right? I say this should be signed by the employer. There are different schools are there, but I say it should be signed by the employer given the contract data. I know certain places are refused. So be careful. It should be signed by the employer given the contract data. Unrestricted rates, higher performance right? Okay. Right. But there are two circulars have come. These circulars were so you have to abide by this. We can't see open PDF documents. We can see only your presentation. Yes, right? Okay, well, we'll see, right? So I also got these from that, and I have entered all that, so I didn't want to make here open PDF documents. I don't know how I can sort out the matter. But others, can you see these slides that are coming up? Can you see that my hyperlink sites are coming up? Can you see?
Right, we can see the slides.
Right. Okay, that's enough. So those are coming from the hyperlink.
No.
Yes.
Huh?
No. The PDFs are not opening.
Only thing.
The hyperlinks were not connected and showing.
Hyperlinks. You can't see the hyperlinks. What do you call? Right. Then I have to make a small right only. So these are some of the things that I'm reading. But anyway, you can't see this slide. I'm asking this question. Can't you see this? You can't see this slide.
The slide
see the slide.
click කරාම hyperlink එකෙන් ඒ document එක පේන්නේ නැහැ
The first time that I'm hearing this situation. Right? Anyway, we'll see how now all that. Right? Anyway, I read it. Then මේ circular එකේ කියන්නේ right? Construction industry කියලා තියෙනවා. To ensure that the bids are unrealistic. That bids are not unrealistic. Thank you. When you guideline you follow කරන්න. So this is you must get the from the which is given in the web. Read this. These are very important. Right? Okay, fine. Then there's another circular issued. Again on the same subject. Ministry of Finance. So make it down. These are the other solution. So unrealistic contracts. What they have said and done, you have to follow this guideline when you are doing the evaluation. Performance security from the employer to the contractor. This is on the way, but you are collecting from the contractor to the employer. This might come for contracts less than 50 million. Policy and search for insurance. I don't want to take anything on this insurance, but anyway, what I have mentioned here is, right? Principal insurer is the employer. So those are some other things that are coming up. My question is that it becomes the duty of the engineer to take the proposals pertaining to these policies before they are accepted, before they obtain accepted. When I write this statement, I don't know whether engineers will agree, but I heard there's a case that a foreign engineer who was the consultant, he has told the contractor, get this done, As 11 times he has gone there, then only he accepted the policy. Because there are now these are all very careful. Insurance is a business. So you must ensure that all these things are covered up. Because there's a questionnaire, proposal paper, endorsements, exclusion clauses, all that is there. We have to read all those things and see with the ground what is happening. We have to get a good consultant on this insurance and see that you quote it properly. Right? Okay. Site position date is very simple, but I find that sometimes not mentioned in the letter of acceptance. Right? Site position date shall be prior to start date. It's a very important thing. Site position date, it should be given in writing to the contractor. Right? If you don't give the site position, failure to give position to the site. Engineer will consult the employer along with the contractor to determine the extension time and cost. Number one. Just see, engineer will consult the employer and the contractor to determine what? Extension time and cost. What for? Now the entire public is looking at this. Why didn't you give the personal site? Right? I'm asking employers. When site and access are not given to the contractor as required. And there's another, I had just come different, site position not given. Right? Very unfortunate situations. Now the claim is coming. Who is responsible for this claim? Who is responsible for delay to the project? Employer, please answer. You have to answer this question. Because the entire, anything that is coming up will be paid by the public. Why didn't you commence this project without the site? Sometimes when you do site position and all that, you build various things and outside the premises. There are government departments. They are not given the survey plan, something like that, but they go and when they go to set out, only the issue comes up. So these are some of the things for the consultant as well as for the employer. Please see that the site position as well as everything is cleared for the rest of the outsiders. Failure to give position of site continued, all that. Signing of contract document, I didn't want to talk something on that within 28 days. Procurement action should not be commenced without the firm commitment of funds. I am repeating again. Now this circular says when the contract is awarded, when they are signing the contract agreement date, employer must ask the contractor to bring their book and enter this correctly. Today, this is the construction, this is the time, and this is the value. That should be entered and given. Very important. Because these things are all, when you enter all that, it is line up in the databases so that contractors will know, employers will know who and what are the jobs that they have. Right? Okay. Employer issue complete set of 10 documents to the contractor in advance. Huh? What is the answer for that? Now I hear that they say on 27th day they ask you to come and sign. Right? So when they ask, they are not allowing the contractor to read it. Right? So I had another good example on that. They went and they signed the contract. They didn't read all that, right? So when they came back after 2-3 months, they want to submit something. Then to check to see, contract is on SPD01, but the contract data, this is coming up on SPD03. The big issue. Make a solve karanna giya more than 2 years by the parties. Well, copy and paste. This is the first time they are doing on SPD01. Contract right? So these are the issues. Right? Now, who is creating these issues? Instruction bidders. All that is I have given. 8.7.1, 8.9.3. Before the expiry of the bid value period, I am again telling to the TC members, must see that it should be done, completed, so that the employer can issue the certificate, letter of acceptance within that time. At least on the 90th day, the letter must go. Contract, some will be the amount that the employee pays the contractor. What is written in the form of bid shall be without value add tax, or that is there. The letter of notice shall be issued no sooner the final decision is completed. Start date, again, same thing. Now, engineer also give 7 days, and the contractor and the employees also give 14 days. There's recently I saw regarding something on that. Anyway, this all is be sorted out by the employer and the consultant without any harm to the contract. Advance guarantee 20%. And these are the covering circulars. But I want to show this one. Advance guarantee. Now, this is something on the public finance department is telling to get bonds and guarantees from the construction guarantee fund. Any important circular is missing. Advance payment is 20%. Right, these circulars are here. Now, this is the circular on the value added tax. The make here no bonds are required with component. Right? When you apply for the advance guarantee, contract sum and on 20%, but no bonds are that component are nothing to cover. Right? So these are some of the things that you must know when making payments. Now, new on this particular 451 circular, it repealed. Right? Then in order to sort out that matter, answer advance payment guarantee may not cover. ඉදසර කතාවක් තියුණා ඇඩ්වාන්ස් පේමන්ට් එක ගන්නකොට VAT එකකට ගහලා ගන්න ඕනේ. So that is the issue. It should include VAT. So after 7 years, they again wrote back and say, advance payment guarantee may not cover VAT component. Till such time, all the employers, accountants, they are asking, bring the advance guarantee with the VAT component. Right? Anyway, it was sorted out after 6 or 7 years. Now again, something on this guarantees, advance, all that. In one of the circulars, it says, now it says insurance companies, but what they say is you have to keep the banks, insurance company, other guarantors, bank should be kept informed regularly about the part payments made to the contractors when they are submitted as advance payment guarantee. And then I make a වෙනවාදී. Bank of Sweden ගන්නවා, People's Bank ගන්නවා, Commercial Bank ගන්නවා, this advance guarantee. මේ circular එකේ කියන්නේ when you are releasing, just send a letter, right, and say that today the bank this is the amount outstanding. එහෙම කරපුවම the contractor can get another some sort of loan or advance payment when you are going to. Otherwise, if you don't write that, they will hold it for till the project is over. That is very unfair. So it says when you make the part payments, then the bank also knows the contract is working because this is coming out. But that letter should be signed properly, not by anybody else, a responsible person, and that signature must be there. Encashment of guarantee. So make it right. There are certain guarantees that are expired, lost to the public, right? Responsible employer and the accountant. Who shall the author to sign the letter calling for encashment? Then guarantees again. I put this slide earlier. Then guarantees are dealer somewhere expired. But no one has taken action. Employer, engineer, contractor, accountant, auditor, right? Advance is paid when it reaches 30%, all that is there, right? Before 90%, it should be collected. Right? I just want to add something on this advance guarantee, right? So please ensure when the advance is given, somebody monitors. It is the engineer must also do it. But if the engineer fails, accountant in the ministry or department or authority, he must also, because he finally this has given by to the employee. If no one monitors that, it expires, then they will not pay. So how are you going to recover that money? Yes, maybe the prasna kata but make it expire. No one has monitored. Right? So I don't want to blame anybody, but anyway, this is happening. Like accountant, the auditor, the client, the employer, the consultant, the can't funds are given, not recovered. And it has expired. When it expires, the bank manager will not release that money. Specifications, I don't want to write all that. I mentioned all that. Care should be taken in drafting contract documents, employers' requirements, preamble specifications, and ensure that they are not restrictive. But I found in the circular, in the guideline 534, if you go to the works contracts, you can read this C. Arrangement of cash for the proposed construction may request documentary evidence for 3 months cash input. However, restricted requirements such as bank fees exclusive for the proposed work should be avoided. Right? So that is the issue. Range of specification given by the ICTAD. Let's see these slides. I want to just show this bidding data. Now, within data, employee is there, work consists are located, important thing. Source of funds. That should be entered.
So excuse me.
Yeah.
The link the link was not working. This document cannot see. So I think it is better to minimize at that point and show it from your laptop.
Only thing
because I think the link was not.
But this is the first time this has happened. But earlier when I
maybe they are because of sometimes maybe happen because of the if all the documents are not in the same folder. That's why, sir.
Right.
So it is better to because at that point, sir, you can minimize your presentation slideshow and then show it. I think it's.
But then I will not want to go out of the way. But anyway, I will just mention.
Okay, if you can share all document at the end of this session, it will be
right. But anyway, now I may have to take another. Now only 2 hours are given, but I have to. There are 148 sites are coming up with all that, more than that.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll correct you next time, right? Okay?
Okay,
right.
Sir. Please, sir. Thank you.
The language within document shall be in English or any other. We have to be careful on that matter. Contract is not subject to price assessment. Right? So these things have to be filled up properly. Especially within data. When you are contract data, employee is there, authorized representative, the employee is there, name all that, employer, the something or not the employee, engineer, authorized representative, all that work consists of. This is the under contract data. Now, can you see this slide? Himal, can you see this slide?
Yeah, we can see the blue slide. There is a variation.
Right. Okay. In any construction project, there will need to change the initial requirement. This may be a matter for the employer to change his mind. Or the engineer may need to issue further information. It not changes initial requirements. Or it may be necessary to correct a mistake that issued to the contract. Now, what is in yellow? Can you see? Himal?
Yes, sir, we can. Yes, right. Yes.
Then make a more clear thing. Indecisiveness, constant change of mind, and the employee do not know what is required. This is how the variations are coming. Indecisiveness, constant change of mind, and employee do not know what is required. Feed conditions allow engineer, but not the employer issue an instruction change the works. And also that. Very important slide. Not allow engineer, allow the engineer, but not the employer. If the contract is not permitted to change the permanent works unless the engineer's instruction approved as a variation. If the employer wants to make any changes, he must request the engineer to issue that instruction. He can't go to the site and give instruction direct to the contractor. If the employer gives an instruction direct to the contractor must obtain engineer's confirmation and instruction before he executes the change. This has to be done properly because the engineer is responsible for technical and financial control of the project. Engineer. So we are talking accountant, but when you take this project, there's an engineer there. He may have another accountant under him, but he has to first maintain what is given in the budget regarding the form of bid, total cost estimate given. He has to maintain that. Be careful on that, right? Okay. Strict address requirements because engineer maintain financial all that. Only the engineer will certify the payment certificate. Only the engineer will certify the payment certificate correctly. Reference program guidelines. Then me slide again. Now you can't see. Then me slide again guideline 8.12.2. Payments are certified according to the conditions of contract. Then this is from the Mahinda Rajapaksa that 2000 book. FR conditions of contract can take time. So these things are all matching up. There's nothing to worry. They are helpful. Now guidelines is there, and even our conditions of contracts the same thing. Payments are certified with conditions of contract. PD clause 3.3, PD gives the engineer the power to give instructions which may or may consider variation. If the contractor considers that instruction consider variation, then he should confirm the instruction as a variation. If the engineer disagrees, then the contractor must still comply with the instruction. Now, these are important points. Right? If the engineer disagrees, then the contractor must still comply with the instruction but can follow approved claim procedures under 20.1. Then go to, right? Claim procedure and adjudication and all that. Extra verbs. Why can't the engineer based on writing? What is the issue? What is this verbal instruction? Now this particular circular only you can't see, but I will read it. In some instances, the head of the department has not even been aware of the extra work undertaken in this particular situation. 159 estimate went up to 189 in the year 1990 or 2000. Department Pradhaniya danna me message gahanne circular gahanne finance ministry. Danut oy wede wenawa. I can't say, but anyway, I can see. The employer must ask questions on these variations. Every month, the employer must question the engineer, not the contractor. Employer must ask him to come to the office, meet with the accountant and the auditor, and ask this: how many variations? What is the cumulative value? The percentage of Tina. Okay, when how do they got till the estimate, revised estimate went to the treasury, no one knows. Variations are monthly employer must question the engineer. He can't say I have more work, I can't. No, you have to do that. That is why the engineer oblique head of department offering PD. He must question the engineer. Variation kireka prasnayak නෙවෙයි. Cumulative value ඇතුළේ ඉන්නවනම් ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. Total cost estimate. But he must get the confirmation from the engineer. The auditors ලා ඉන්නවා, accountant ඉන්නවා, අහගෙන ඉන්නවා මොකද්ද කියන්නේ කියලා. නැත්තම් මේක ඉවුරලා කතා කරලා නැහැ. ඒ accountants ලා auditors ලා අහන්නේ ඒකයි. දැන් 10% දීලා තියෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒක ඇතුළේ වියදම් කරනවා නම් variations වලට accountant must know. Right? Then we circulate in Honda area මේකයි. Here, the head of the department should apply for the necessary authority under FR 72. FR 72 is a revision of outlaw estimate. As soon as the increasing cost is anticipated, without waiting till the work is over, to avoid delays and payments to contract. Then make කතා කරන මට හුඟක් කරන්න මට කනට ඇහෙනවා. Variation දේවා ගෙවන්න හංගල් පස්සේ. Quantity exceed ගෙවන්න පස්සේ. The contractors are complaining, we are spending the money, why are you not paying? Then our experience here, right? You pay a provisional rate till it is finalized. ඒවා එකව කරන් ඉන්නවා. Right? Okay. Variations. Incomplete BOQ omissions and shortcomings. Employer not dedicating the financial funds to the engineer. Engineer duties right, I am not right. Okay. Authorities vested with the head of the department. Engineer to a client take immediate action when the estimate exceeds country's provision. Delegation by some head of department to the engineer. And some department give that 10% condition to the engineer to perform. Engineer. Otherwise, then his specific approval, how much is same and employ. You can't do that. You can't run projects like that. So now he says, some department they give that. If you read the 39.2, that says, insert the latest total cost estimate value there. SPDC one එක ගියා නම් page එක ගත්තා කියලා තියෙනවා දැන් enter කරන්න කියලා. enter කරන්නේ නැත්නම් ඉතින් variation account පස්සේ හැම තිස්සෙම employee හම්බෙන්න එන්න ඕන. So allow the contractor to work and check his work monthly, not at the management meeting. You get down the engineer and consult on these matters. Delaying the approval of variation when the engineer force variance the employee. Specific approval. Delaying the approval. Delaying the approval variation when the engineer forwards variance the employee. Harne specific approval ne harne gadi. Delaying the approval when the contract forward the variation to the engineer. When the variation is forwarded to the engineer, engineer want the approval from the variation committee. That's another issue. Huh? Then මේක දාපුවාම engineer දාලා තියෙනවා board එක. Perfectly all right. I don't agree. Conditions of contract එහෙම එකක් නැහැ නමුත් right? But issue within the contract period, within the conditions of contract. You can't take months and months. Internal procedures okay. But they are going to be delayed to the project. Right? And speaking on a very vital statement here. Engineer when forward කරපුවාම engineer forward කරපුවාම engineer forward කරන්න බෑ ඔය employed. ඉතින් දැන් මෙතන වෙලා තියෙන්නේ engineer forward කරපුවාම engineer committee එකක් දාලා. ඒගොල්ලෝ තමයි කියන්නේ. Internal procedures are okay, but stick to the conditions of contract. දැන් මේක ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා. Are you paying a provisional rate in the same month? Then ඕක ගෙවන්න ගියාම මම දන්න accountants ලා ගහනවා. මොකද්ද මේ ආයේ මේ BOK මොකක්ද ප්‍රශ්නේ කියලා? Definitely. Now the clause එකේ තියෙනවා ගෙවන්න කියලා. Till is finalized. Paying the same month some amount and then variation again. Now for example, he's asking 1,000 rupees, but you are giving only 500. මොනවා හරි ගෙවිලා තියෙනවා නම් 500 හරි ගෙවන්න පුළුවන් ඉන්නේ. So these are the issues that when it says to pay on the same month, you must pay. Yeah, then he must disagree, he must go for adjudication. But he must work competently and promptly. But the employee is very weak. දැන් ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙන්නේ නැතයි දැන් ඒක ගෙනාවෙන් පස්සේ variations වල යවාම පස්සේ මේක ඉක්මන් කරලා ඉවර කරලා දෙන්න ඕනේ. Employer, are you paying the provisional rate? Employee is encouraging, tempting the contract to submit a claim. General conditions of contract state that withholding a decision approval is a compensation event. And speaking all from the what is given in the conditions of contract. ඉතින් පරක්කු වෙන්න බෑ. දැන් මේ clause එක දාලා තියෙනවා specific approval ගන්න කියලා. Right? Okay. That's no issue. එදින ඔය දැන් දාලා තියෙනවා මේ ගන්නයි කියලා. But in an emergency, you have to proceed, right? So otherwise you can't be waiting for any instruction. But anyway, the employer will determine this addition to contract price in accordance with clause 13 pricing and notify the contractor accordingly, right? With a copy to the employer. So engineer determines and consult the employer and the contractor, and he determines, and he sent that letter with a copy to the employer. I say again, now when that variation comes or instruction, all that, he determines that. After that, he consults all that employer and the contractor. Just because a contractor has asked, he is not going to give. Even there's a specific approval or not, that should be the format today in here. When there's a variation comes, you tell the employer whether it's specific approval or not. But anyway, your time and cost is a problem for the employer. So you have to say this is the amount or something that you have planned or what your decision. You tell him. And the number of days, all that must be told. How it has come. Right? So he always informed the employer with a copy to the employer. So he will sign that letter. But anyway, the payment certificate shall not be deemed to indicate the engineer's acceptance, approval, consent, or satisfaction. Though he has given that all that, but it will not indicate engineer's acceptance. He can do something on the when he go to the site. If he found that, he can deduct something. That is only for the engineer. Variations, accountants, TC members, employers note. Employers, auditors, accountants, TC members to note. One again, the feeding conditions allow employer, engineer, but not the employer. Right? So I have just explained all that. Financial regulations, public finance circulars do not obstruct or temper when proceeding with the government contracts. That is my idea. They are helpful. Financial regulations are helpful in the guidelines. Only thing, they are not familiar with these circulars. That's the issue. But the only issue is that government officers should acquaint with FRR, public circular and procurement guidelines and utilize them in performing the contract at the correct time without waiting till the last bill comes. FRs into action. All these circulars are there, right? Only thing, I'm very sorry that now this is a very important slide. Supplement 14, make a I'll read that. Variation contracts during implementation stage cause high burden on the government and the head of the department. These are very good words. If the contribution from the variation to the final contract seems high, Treasury says it will dilute the procurement process that was carried out when awarding the contract. Right? Dilute is right if there are so many variations. It's a high burden to the government. It has been budgeted and you ask him more funds from where to find. But in this circular, they say that there's a word here. මේ circular තියෙන වැදගත්කම මේකයි. මේ supplementary කියලා තියෙනවා. However, any savings accumulated in the reduction of quantities and or additional items in the original BOQ may be used to issue variation orders without following approval procedure. That is the most important. Now I can remember in 1997 we have all the contractors employees asking for this, but Treasury said no. But only in 2007 they are told if there are savings, use it for the payment of variation. So anyway, that's a good decision taken by the Ministry of Finance, right? Then also that further it states anything up to 10 net value up to 10%, all that is there. But if it is more than that only, they have to go to the chief accounting officer. Then he has something. Now in this slide, I'm very sorry, right? Make a search again. If the current variance is due to error in the BOQ, explanation from the officer who has prepared the response to the original BOQ. If the current variation due to error in the BOQ, explanation from the officer who has responsibly prepared in the original BOQ. line if the current variation is due to change in scope, explanation from the procurement entity why it was not foreseen at the design stage. Why it was not foreseen at the design stage? These are some good questions from the ministry. Current variation. But that has to be done, sort out matters. Why it was not foreseen at the design stage. A variation order that deviates from the fundamental scope, nature, type, or complexity of the work, all that is there, right? And there's an imbalance on the risk allocation. Introducing work outside the domain of the original job, which you cause hardship to the contractor, financially and technically, various things. Engineers are ethically obliged to avoid as far as possible situations that are inconsistent with the professional obligations. Very important, employer and the consultant. I have mentioned some compensation event, that compensation events it says, right? Make cross right? You can see, right? Engineer assumes that contractor will react competently and promptly to the compensation event. Variation event. So my question is, if that is the answer, the employer must also respond competent to sort of give the decision quickly. Variation when the variation comes. Engineer assume that the contractor will react competently for the variation. Now, similarly, the employer must also do their job as the consultant and finish it off. Retention for construction works, that is 546. You retain from the retention money 10%, and after that, limit of retention is 5%. All these are given in the circulars. Right? So these are the right, okay, given. On completion hold of the works, 50% of the retention money shall be paid with the final bill. Correct. 10% retention, 5% limit. At the statement of completion, 2.5% must be given, and the 2.5% is there. So balance 50% will be released at the end of DLP period, certified by the engineer. But however, now there's a retention guarantee is there. You can take that balance also, submission of retention guarantee. Liquid damages. Provision shall be made in the contract setting out the basis for computation of the liquid damages, subject to a maximum for delays.
Excuse, sorry to interrupt. We need to send the message. The chat first enable. You can type whatever question you need to raise.
No, I told at the beginning.
Okay, sir.
Give all that to the engineer Himal. He will read for me, right?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
So these are something on the liquid damages. It should be reasonable and not extravagant or unconscionable. Extension of the intended completion date. Right? Now, these are very important thing. The clause explains that the engineer shall extend the intended completion date. No one else. Request employer not to interview the decisions of the engineer unless it is necessary. The clause explains that the engineer shall extend the intended completion date. Request employer not to interview the decisions of the engineer unless it is necessary. Now I put the time at large. If there is a delay on this issue, issuing on this request, all that, contractor will come out with this word time at large. Employer can further extend the contract but cannot decrease it. However, the entitlement to an AOT does not automatically lead to compensation, vice versa. Okay? Meet the consequences statement. It is also noted that the ICTAR conditions of contract do not contain the time is of essence provision, and hence a reasonable delay will not constitute breach of contract. Time exchange clause requires notice from the contractor as soon as possible occurrence of a delay event. Yes, time exchange clause requires notice from the contractor as soon as the occurrence of a delay event. The delay must be properly documented, and it is inferred that the event of a continuous delay must be updated and continue. So this is a very important thing. If there's a delay, you have to send a small note. Reference this delay and all those things must be there. My claim will follow time and cost. This was as per the early warning. The absence of that documentation may take a dilution of the obligation reason to consider such requests. Majority of the construction projects worldwide are administered by the FEDIC forms of contract. There are some clauses are there. FEDIC recognizes delay and period cost and has related thereto, for example, sub clauses 8.4, 20.1, all that given. FEDIC provisions define conditions where delay may be claimed as a basis for the extension of time. Some examples are late provision of designs and drawings. So I can understand why the employer and the consultant is delaying this. There must be some sort of reason. Because when you delay that, the claims are coming. Burden to the treasury. Burden to the public. Unforeseen physical condition income. That is unacceptable. That you had accepted. But only thing, there are certain areas that inclement weather also you have to sort it out. Variation. Additional works and extra work. Those things are there. But sometimes now I have mentioned you why it was not foreseen at the design stage. Variations. Why it was not foreseen at the design stage? Employer and the consultant will have to answer. Any delays resulting from the prevention of work by the employer and the engineer. Those might also be considered for time and cost. Now, this slide is a very important slide. Only thing I will read it. Now, guideline has given right reasons for delays. Now, listen carefully. The project director and the project manager and the engineer we shall take every endeavor to avoid claims or at least reduce the minimize the during execution of contract, thereby eliminating issues, claims, adjudication. මේ කවුද මේ කියන්නේ? මුදල් අමාත්‍යාංශ. කාටද කියන්නේ? Project director, project manager and engineer. Right? මොකද පළවෙනි එක? Delay in annual site purchase. දැන් මුදල් අමාත්‍යාංශයෙන් මම කියන්නේ claims ඇවිල්ලා දැනගෙන ඇති මෙන්න මෙහෙම දෙයක්ත් වෙනවා. මේක මොකද්ද ප්‍රශ්නේ කියන්නේ? Why are you not giving the site position? Why are you not giving site position? දැන් මේවට පබ්ලික් එක දැන් දන්නවනම් පබ්ලික් එකයි මොකද අපි මොකද අපි මේවට ගෙවන්නේ? From where they going to find the money? දෙවෙනිය මොකද? Failure to clear obstructions or encumbrances. Failure to clear obstructions or encumbrances. Right? Encumbrances. දැන් මේවා clear කරන්න ඕනේ. Obstruction. Water line එකක් හරි පාරක් හරි යනවා තාප්පයක් කඩන වෙනවා. Now those must be cleared by the employer. Right? Now දැන් මේ කතා ඒකනේ කියන්නේ clear fail to clear obstruction. ඉතින් හුඟක් වෙලාවට දැන් contractor කියනවා you go and meet the paper and right sort out the matter කියලා. But employer should get into this. Then guideline 2.3.1 එකේ කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? Uninterrupted implementation of the project. Guideline එක follow කරන්න තියෙනවා uninterrupted implementation of the project කියලා තියෙනවා. Now then පටන් ගන්නකොට මේ there are interruptions. What is the use of this guideline? Right? තුන්වෙනි delays in providing instructions or drawings. Drawings parakku. What is the employer doing? He has an obligation to see. When the contractor has asked these drawings on sign, he has mentioned in the monthly contracting program, I want this drawing half a day. He can't ask on the overnight, but at least he can mention that I want this on particular day. At least 2-3 weeks must be given. Right? So these are, I can't understand why instructions or drawings. Delays in making payments. Then treasury come කියනවා contract employed consultant කියනවා ඔයගොල්ලෝ payment පරක් කරනවා. මේ 2017 ආපු circuit මේක guide එක. දැන් ටිකක් ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා. මුදල් අමාත්‍යාංශය කියන්නේ ඕගොල්ලෝ වැඩිකාරය. And point the finger to the employer. Delay in making payments. Consultant with them. But this is a very serious issue. Delays in making payments. If the contractor had done something wrong, then you have to deduct or do something and make some payments. So delays in making payments is the issue. Suspensions which are due to bad management. Suspension. Unnecessary intervene with the test. Now, this is the most important delay. Ministry of Finance is telling not providing adequate assistance to get the approval of authority. How's the authority? Forest Department එකයි GSMB එකයි එතකොට ඊළාට electric department එකයි cultural එකට කියයි GA හම්බෙන්න කියයි proprietary එක හම්බෙන්න කියයි. Those are places authority. So you are intervening. Employer can't just issue a letter to the contract and sit and wait. You can't do that. You have to give assistance. Make that. Treasury එක මේක දැනගන්න තමයි මේක ගහන්නේ. Not providing adequate assistance. So employer and the consultant must take action on this matter, but contractor must also go. The consultant will, it's not in my agreement, but employer has to provide all that. Otherwise, if you just put a letter and send, there's a delay. The project is getting delayed. Claims are coming. So this ensure that these things are all followed. These are the reasons for delays given by the Ministry of Finance. Unnecessary use of taking over the parts of the works. Number 9, delays in evaluation of variation. Variation, new rates, claims, additional amounts and time. There cannot be an issue. Delay in evaluation of variation. Now, he contract submit for the evaluation proposal. You can't take more, right? If you take time, that means that there's a delay in that. That variation committee, this variation committee, all that is right, accepted, but it is within the conditions of contract. New rates, claims, additional amounts, and time. What's the other one? Unreasonable rejection of variations. Ministry is telling. Variations, අනවශ්‍ය විදිහට reject කළා. New rates of claims. Unreasonable deduction of liquidated damages. Induced acceleration due to delays in granting extension of time. Last one is other breaches of terms of contract. The there are 13 points are there. They may Treasury in Canada may personally, then employer and the consultant must take action on this matter. And you say take a contract person anyway. That is your job. And your site, failed to key obstructions, delayed in drawings, delay in making payments, suspensions, and all that is there. Last, most important, not providing adequate assistance to get the approval of authority. Right, okay. Refer the guide. I had just mentioned about the certificate of right payments are called the conditions of contract. No other officer can prepare a payment certificate, unlawful and illegal payment certificate. Engineer is the person who has prepared a payment certificate. Take a game payment tag. Right? Any questions? When the engineer certifies payment certificate, employer shall pay the contract within 14 days. There cannot be any delay. When the engineer certifies, engineer will take 21 days, employer will take 14 days. Before 35th day, the contract must get the payment. No one can delay. Delay again, he will ask for start claiming interest. Right? When the engineer certifies, you can, right, when the engineer certifies, payments must come. The engineer, the specific approval, the engineer, engineer can not talk. The specific approval and employer talk. Projects are all eternally getting delayed. When the engineer certifies, the employer payment certificate, employer shall pay the contract. Accountant auditors note. Now you are in the 1997 contract management book. Same, all those things are the same thing, but it's repeated by the Mahinda Rajapaksa 2006. Part payments, work performed made the contribution of the contract agreement. Deduction saves the contract, right? Okay. Statement of completion, SAC. The contract shall require the engineer to issue the certificate of completion of works, and the engineer do so upon deciding that the work is completed. Substantial completion. Upon completion of the defects life period, the contractor requires the engineer to issue the final certificate. Right? All that must be done, rectified, all that. I don't know whether this will come. No, this is not coming. Right. Okay. I got stuck. There's a sample format given by the Construction Guarantee Fund. Right? Anyway, it has come, but I can see But this sample format that given work done, then advanced payment, retention, all those things there. It's only you can't see, but what I want to show you is that payment certificate is given in the month of January. Monthly bill value is 968. That is paid only in the month of March, February, March. I'm just telling you. So that is the time that the contractor has to get the bill of 21 plus 14, 35 days after that only this will be paid, right? I can show that right here. Employer ensure agreement signed within 28 days. No postponement, please. No amendments to the body of volume 1, section 1 and 3 that I have shown you earlier. But I can open up. Make slide again a guidelines used as a bidding document. Right? Now it says the standard bidding document is suitable for all procurement of works financed under consolidated and private or private sector. Finance under consolidated fund. No private sector. The standard bidding document also suitable for NCD procurements and foreign funded projects with the concurrence of foreign funded agency. Modifications or amendments to the volume 1 of the bidding document should not be done unless they are really essential. Really essential. Any such changes should be provided only in the bidding date and contract date. However, instruct bidders and conditional contract respectively. However, with the consent of the ICTAR. මේ පොත පාවිච්චි කරනවා නම් SPDC 1 එකයි 2 එකයි 3 එකයි 4 එකයි. But they say that changes should be done only the bidding date and contract date and not in various other places. And they can't change the general conditions of contract. If they want, they are right to the ICTAR and get the consent. Guideline 531 ABCD dated are that over to TC and PC members. Do not include unfair clauses in the agreement. Right? 531 ABCD again, that's the important section. Right? Standard bidding document sambandha තියෙන. Do not include unfair or impractical specifications. Bias specification in the agreement. Understood? Do not include unfair or impractical specifications in the agreement. Do not include conditions in the specifications. Do not engage in unethical contractual practices. The contract agreement and the document shall not be one-sided. Restrictive specifications. Right, the same thing that I had just repeated. Guidance notes and all that. But again, I show this slide 521, very important. Checklist for submitted draft bidding documents. Are you using standard bidding documents? If so, what is the document used? If so, did changes due to fall in line with these guidelines? Guidelines සම්බන්ධව යන්න ඕන. You can't change on your own. So that is what is happening in the country today. Content of the bidding document, මෙතනත් දැන් I have shown that design and build. Right, මට මේක පෙන්වන්න තියෙන මේක design and build එක කතා කරන්න තියෙනවා. Drawings and sketches must be given. With the other things. We'll see if how I can sort out the matter next time. The contract shall carry out all instructions of the engineer appointed in the contract data. which comply with the applicable laws where the site is located. The employer to ensure that the contract cannot be asked to carry out work which is improper and impossible. Illegal. There are some other things that have come up in the adjudication. Employer to ensure contract can be asked to carry out work which is improper and impossible. Illegal. Practically impossible. Totally impracticable. Legally questionable. Employer to ensure that the law of the land should not recognize any contract based on illegal act. Employer to ensure all instructions, notices, approvals, consents, which are his responsibilities, are given in writing and not unreasonably withheld or delayed. Right? Now, employer ensure all that. Now, instruction, order, approvals, consent is all you have to get it from to the consultant. Responsibility given in writing by the engineer. Employer shall not allow engineer representative chair the conduct the meeting. Engineer should allow engineer to chair the meeting or the engineer representative, not the employee. I can see that employee sitting on this chair is not correct. Engineer should chair the meeting. Employer should ensure that site meeting is convened at least once a month. All right, everything is there. The usual tendency of a site manager is to attend the progress meetings called up by the consultant and discuss the progress of the work. But they are always talking about the time and all that, but they are overlooking the cost and the quality. The main purpose of the meetings are availability of the information, program of work, plan value. This is a very important slide, only you can see. Right? It is given here. Plan value, earned value, and cost performance index, SPI. According to the drawing, the employee is behind schedule. Cost variance is very high. Progress of the main contractor. Subcontractors. Contractors propose of future work. Propose remedies. Revision of program. Come on, back on original schedule. Review the progress in the contractor's program of work. Critical analysis of the activities which are behind schedule. Make up the time loss. Any necessary to revise the program. The contractor's safety and security arrangements. Control of workmanship. Adequacy of the contractor's labor, plant, and materials, very important. Drawing specification and instruction. Drawing specification and instruction. Obtain confirmation from the contractor that his work is not held up due to lack of information or state specific information that is lacking. In this particular meeting, you have to get a confirmation from the contractor. Work is not held up due to lack of information or state specific information are required. But drawing specific and instruction. Get a confirmation from the contractor in this meeting. Then on check on the insurance bonds and guarantees, very important, whether they have got expired. Complaints and third party claims. Certificates and site meeting should be chaired by the engineer or ER, not outsiders. Engineer should prepare the minutes immediately and give the copies to the employer and the contract. The fault of the client is not pointed out or documented considering their survival. Progress review meeting should be considered as an opportunity for the contract to maintain good rapport with the consultant. The project manager or the consultant, you must not discuss weakness of such delays instructions, or that should not be discussed. Very careful. Right? So these are some things that I'm reading. A good project manager will never confront the consultant about their weaknesses. Those should be diplomatically pointed out and resolved for better progress. A good project manager will never confront. Have to be careful. Right? Sometimes in minutes they are not entering all that. So they provide list, right? Update. Now they are not. However, that should be done in such a manner that will not take that as a challenge. That if you go to say this has not been entered, this has not been entered, that's correct. But we have to see that how it is done. If the consultant and the contractor take on as a rival party, the project will suffer and the employee will suffer. The employee being the state, users will suffer, the construction will suffer, and finally the economy of the country as a whole will suffer. Management meetings. Is it part of the contract document? Yes or no? My answer is that do not possess the status of the contract document. Only it becomes with the contempt records only. I make this statement. I attended there's a consultant from the foreign. He came at the water stage. He told it is not the part of the contract document. Do not possess the status of the contract document unless you have all the contempt records. Early warning. This clause is there. Right? Only thing is my clearing all covered little. Contract shall warn the engineer with a copy to the employer at the earliest opportunity for specific likely future events or circumstances that may adversely affect the quality of the works, increase the initial contract price, or delay the execution of work. With Karnataka, here are human known. Contract shall warn the engineer with a copy to the employer. Now with a copy to the employer. Now in this last paragraph of this my presentation, I did come on another day, right? With a copy to the employer. Now the contract written, I want time and cost. The may lium kianatica employer danagannat tone. Employer copy again, now got employee given it now, Devania Kauraka given it now. Namut, there's a report I have prepared, active report. Employer must question the engineer regarding this what is this early specific events time and cost. Cost take very again, employee is responsible to go to the chief officer and go to the treasury. But employee hungar then take kalpana contractor engineer genalla question regarding what is this letter? Engineer contract now may have Muka the Vendical Hanu. A Hanna other attain Kisuma employee. Right? And that engineer may require contract to provide an estimate for the expected defect of the future event. All that is there. Right? Shall we provide to the contractor as soon as possible? That must be there. And also there's an issue on that, that how it can be avoided or reduced. If the contractor fails to inform the engineer in an early stage, early warning, and it causes the amounts to be basically requires an additional cost, the contractor fails to inform the engineer. Then the engineer contract will be liable to bear the additional cost. Now, these are warning for the contractors. They must send that letter. They can't hide. If you don't inform the engineer, we will not get any cost. Right? And the contract will be liable to bear additional cost. Condition precedent. Monthly progress report. These are things that we discussed. Plan activities completed monthly, all that is there. Reasons why failure of these plan activities. Currently under progress, all must be right. Compare the plan versus actual. Right? Program and budget, all that I can see. Price adjustment clause, guideline 5.542. In any contracts exceeding a period of 3 months, price formulation variation formula developed by IESL shall be used. Now, this is a circular issued by the Treasury in 1993. Development of domestic contractors national adoption of IESL price formula. Right? It has given all the details that you can see. Signed by R. Pasanlingam, Secretary Treasury. Right? Do not delete the price fixing clause. I'm writing here. In more than 3 months, it should be given. But I show you another letter. Right. NPA has given a letter to the, and you can't see. I am reading it. When the Contractors Association of Southern Province, they met the National Procurement Agency regarding the problems faced by small and medium scale contractors. The letter this refers to the meeting held with the representative of the National Contract Association Sri Lanka Southern Branch in August 2016 at the NPA on the above subject. Problems faced. I'd like to draw your attention to the following issues raised at the above meeting. They are requests that the contractor request for the price adjustment for works even lesser than duration, 3 months. Yes, very positive answer. Right? As per the guidelines 542, procurement guidelines, price variation formula developed by the IESL for the SLR component shall be included in the bidding document with regard to the contracts for work exceeding period of 3 months. However, the NPA says, if the procurement entity requires, be careful on this letter. However, if the procurement entity requires, the price variation formula may be even used for contract for lesser duration. NPA can මෙහෙම එකක් දීලා තියෙනවා. Southern Province in the contractors ගිහිල්ලා කතා කරලා කියලා තියෙනවා. මේ circular issue කරලා තියෙනවා. However, this one will go on down to the Chief Secretary Southern Provincial Council. Right? The request updated total cost estimate කතා කරලා තියෙනවා. But anyway, if the employer wants, when you consider all that, he has the authority to give in for lesser duration. And as with the procurement manual 431 and 432, if considerable time is taken to invite bids after the preparation of the initial total cost estimate, the TC must be updated, right, and obtain the authority. Price is clause, that will Chief Secretary. Right? Okay, now foreign funded is a requirement. Use their formulae. However, if that formula may use new bulletin from the contractor prices, right? We'll see what it is. Now, this is a letter that I have written to the Chairman ICTAD by a contractor regarding CEDA indices for building services items not covered by the current including the CEDA publication. This letter regarding indices. Building services now it says, right, with respect to construction contract issues, we request to accommodate the following items in the minimal phase as fluctuation formula, building services in the construction contract. Electrical and all that. They have request to include in the publication. Right, the time is now 8 o'clock. I'm going to stop my presentation. I will continue reading. We will give another date. I will see that what we have mentioned about these sites will be shown. Anyway, now it is the question time. Himal, can you read all that questions?
Yes, sir. There are so many questions.
Right. We'll take one by one.
Okay. Is PCA, this is one question from so Engineer Lalit, I think. Is PCA 3 required to submit with the bid if local agent on behalf of principal sign the bidding document and submit?
Right. Now I can remember. Now I have mentioned here, as per this as per the extract from that particular letter, it is not applicable to the main tender. Right? It is not applicable to the main tender. The local agent, I am not quite sure, but anyway, it has been given in those days earlier when the foreigners are coming, they must have a local agent. So the local agent has to get this PCA 3, right? So there's a circular on 3557 on the regarding this matter. But my question is, but I have put here, main tenderer is not required to register. Main tenderer. I told you the issue. The main tenderer, main 5 tenderers couldn't submit the PCA 3 form. They went several times to the office, couldn't collect it. But they submitted without that. But finally, when the tender was awarded, they all rejected. They have given the highest tender, 50 million above. But later, thanks to the appeal board, it was reversed. My question is that this is not applicable to the main tender. So in most of the contracts, yes, it is all main tender. Now they are asking main tender, bring it. It's very unfair. Within 21 days, you can't do it. But now, of course, they have started it off online. But it is there. Registrar of company says it is not required. Main tender not required. That is why I have just told there's another director procurement in another department or authority. He has told in the papers, the winner will bring the certificate before the agreement. That's a very reasonable thing. I hope I have answered your question. Next one.
Okay. Okay, thank you, sir. The next one is from Engineer Nalaka Seneviratna. Is there any document that describe how to analyze the data for weather? I think this rainy and this for the EOT.
Yeah, only thing that is, of course, I will not be able to answer. Data for, what is the question? Data
weather, for?
Weather.
I think this link with the EOT,
yes.
those things.
That of course I will not answer. That data all must be, data is there, but only thing calculation I just take with another officer, right? Yes.
In addition to that, I can say that there are document regarding site management, the weather data management and everything were in the specific document where there is standard document in the SIDA. You can follow that document.
That's fine, good.
Okay. So there's another question from Mr. Sati Kumar.
Yeah.
If case of contractor suffering from severe financial crisis and say about completed 70% of work, in this situation, can officially release some amount of payment against a bond?
Now that question I can understand, right? Now there are no way of say that the financial difficulties. Now this is the little issue that is coming. Is it under during the contract COVID period or not? Is it under COVID period?
It was not mentioned. I think, sir, he was mentioned is financial crisis. No, he's saying if the case of contractor suffering from the severe financial crisis and say about completed 70% of work in this situation, can officially release some amount of payment against a bond.
The point is this: now in this situation, the government has only told about this payment or price escalation. That's an issue by the honor minister, and has to compensate regarding whether price escalation clause is available or not. You pay. Yeah, give the escalation must be approved and paid. But now regarding this contractor's financial authority, now has he been paid? If the government has he not paid, then he will not have get some sort of what do you call on delayed payment. But that will not be sufficient. Now only thing that consider this period. Now these are some other little features I want to answer, because this is on the COVID period where a lot of issues are there, right? So otherwise, there cannot be a financial situation for the contractor. One thing is that he should be paid on regularly. If he has failed that, then again he will get into another issue, right? So considering all these factors, I think I have answered your question. But unless you pay the contract properly, and then of course if he has gone on a financial crisis, then I don't think he will be allowed to pay, right? If there's anything on that sort, right? So that is why my answer to the question. Next one.
Sir. Thank you, sir. Next one is also from Lalit. Can't PC deviate from guidelines if it is extremely necessary, as there are guidelines, not procurement rules or acts? Can't such deviation be challenged in the court?
Now, anyway, now that the question is too low, I can't get what is asking, right? Can you repeat that question? I will stop at one point. Now, what is asking?
Okay, sir. Can't PC, I think procuring committee or something, deviate from guidelines?
Wait.
Extremely necessary. Okay.
Now, wait. Now the guideline says, right? Now the guideline says 521 what says, right? 521 they are mentioned. It should be 521. I can read. Wait. I 521. I had the book here. 521 එකේ කියලා තියෙන්නේ, right? Use of standard bidding documents. එතකොට දැන් මෙතන කියලා තියෙනවා all such documents must be vetted and approved by the TC and the PC, who shall take the responsibility of the contents of such documents. දැන් මෙතන ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙන්නේ, there may be some sort of issues that is coming up, but if there's anything that you can get right to the ICTAD and get the consent, because it says if it is very required, can get the consent from the ICTAD regarding this special application. That's the specific issues that has to be allowed, but better you get the consent. Now it says get the consent from the ICTAD, because you are deviating from the standard bidding documents. That cannot be done. And also it says when you are using standard bidding document, you should fall in line with the guidelines. There may be exceptional cases that we have to get the approval from the consent from the ICTAD. Then they will make some arrangement for that. Okay, fine. Next one.
Okay, thank you, sir. This is from Mohammed Razil. If contract conditions are included in the specification, can the contractor ignore those?
What is the question? When the contractor?
If the contract conditions are included in the specification, can the contractor ignore those?
No, that question is not clear for me. I don't
know what he was asking, whether in the specification the conditions were included. Are there contractor has a right to ignore these conditions?
No. No. If the specifications these are specifications given in the ICTAD.
Yeah, in the specification there are some conditions are mentioned.
That's right. Now that is the issue, right? Now specifications you can't have conditions. right? Now I can remember that there was an issue on a certain
No,
day.
sorry, sir. What he's saying, if the contract conditions are included in the specification,
Contract,
okay.
contract conditions are included in the
specifications,
right.
It was say then he was telling, if are there any right to contractor to ignore those conditions or the specification conditions.
Now wait. Now at the previous meeting he must be able to question on that issue. Right? Yeah, now he has won the tender. Right? Now he must question the at the previous meeting and get that sorted out. Now these are specifications. Now you have included some conditions. If that conditions are there, it is very unfair. But sometimes it is happening. This can be sorted out definitely at the previous meeting. These are the specifications and you have included some conditions. That is going to be a big issue. You can't have conditions in the specification. I have told specifically. Okay, fine.
Okay, so thank you. So, and also Mr. Sunitra Samarakon, Miss Sumitra Samarakon, she's asking, guideline allows TEC to clear the bidding documents without PC clearance provided. A standard bidding document is used. This provision is to minimize the pre-contract period.
No, that question is little. I couldn't follow it, but only thing you are talking about something. Can you repeat that question, Himal?
Okay, sir. So guideline allows TEC to the guideline allows TEC to clear the bidding document without PC clear. That means I think procurement committee clearance, provided a standard bidding document is used. Then full stop. This provision is to minimize the pre-contract period.
No, that question is not clear. Now, when you read this procurement guideline chapter 5, all documents must be vetted and approved by the TEC and the PC respect, who shall take the entire responsibility. Now, when you mention these right, the condition says the procurement entity shall use appropriate specimen standard approved by the NPA with minimum changes if necessary to address contract specific issues. Right? So they are mentioned, they can only be mentioned in the bidding data and the contract data. Right? So if there are special conditions, it should be in the special conditions, but nowhere I have seen some other conditions are in different places. Different places. So that is unfair. But only thing, my answer is that I hope I have given the answer for that question.
Next okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Another thing from Champika Abesiri, this is a request, not a question. So presentation is more valuable and more helpful for us to refresh and enhance our knowledge. Could you please share this PowerPoint presentation and PDF document for the further review?
I will definitely do that. I will definitely do that. Right. So,
and also we plan another physical event maybe in a couple of months. No, sir.
Yes, in fact, that's why you are ready that we actually this way we would have it in Colombo, but unfortunately that hall has been booked and also so we have to turn into the. I also prefer to have this online, not online, physically. So we'll have it definitely, right? Okay, then only this will be because I had to ask some questions at that time, but only thing with this online is difficult.
Okay, I think you we shall share this document.
Now only thing now I'll be sending this seminar note. I will send it to the right. Only thing that certain guidelines, certain circulars are all available in the ICTAD, which I am speaking. There's a book is there. Then now I also go to the website and collect all these things.
Treasure
right?
website.
So you can go to the website and collect all those things because I gave the presentation sometimes somebody has made some mistake and I had a issue. So he doesn't want he don't know how to express these certain things. Right? So I am taking from the guideline, I am taking from the conditions, then I am taking from the public finance or FR. All those things are a couple and I am speaking on this presentation. So I'll send all the wordings, everything to for the IESL for your distribution. Right.
Okay,
Thank
sir.
you very much
Okay,
for
sir.
your comments and
Thank
all
you,
that.
sir.
Right.
Thank you, sir. The next question is Mr. Lalit. It's maybe a funny question. Should Sri Lanka Army follows procurement guideline on procuring arms during a war? I think emergency procurement. Also, military officers.
That is of course. I will not be able to answer that because wait. Now I am only interested on the procurement of works. I should not go and do anything on the goods and services. Procurement guidelines says this works. I am speaking on the works. I can't speak on the good side. There are some special things are there, right? Okay.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Okay, sir. And also ex-military officer, I wish to mention because any military officer, they has to follow the rules and the regulations on the country. When any procurement in the logistic department of any tri-forces, according to my knowledge, they follow all the rules and regulations, including procurement guidelines. So that were there. So depend on the situation, this will enlighten us the requirement to have another session on government procurement guideline and the manual. So we will arrange in future regarding this topic. Okay, sir. Thank you.
But so now there are certain emergency purchases are there. Then certain instructions, right? So that it is covered in the latest supplements issued by the Ministry of Finance.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Fine.
Okay. Thank you, sir. The next question in general, PRM MOM, minutes, prepared by the engineer. Are there any rule for time period for circulate MOM within a week? Question or before next meeting?
No, anyway,
the progress meeting minutes of minute.
No, that should be given. I can't understand why the engineer is delaying all that. When the minister are on, she should be able to give all that within a week, right? Why is he want to wait till the next? Because they'll have to read these minutes and take some sort of notes and take action accordingly, right? Okay. Maximum 1 week. I think I can't allow engineer to give these minutes at the end of the next commencement of the next meeting. Yes. That's very unfair. These meeting minutes must be given so that everything what has to be done by the contract, all those has been there. So then he will take precautions, right? Okay. Thank you very much. What's the next one?
Thank you, sir. Next one, we maintain a realistic construction program and monitoring the critical activities to avoid delays. Delays is important. Maintaining a realistic construction program, I think the construction program and monitoring its critical activities, that's critical path, and to avoid the delays is important. That is his question.
Wait. Now, anyway, now there must be now we are talking about the realistic contract period, right? So when you are preparing your construction program, right? So then you have to prepare on with the critical path method, right? Now, if there are certain items that has to be completed before you start the next one, you have to prepare it accordingly, right? So that's a very important thing. Otherwise, if you just run through something like that and write something and prepare estimate, not that you must know this is at this point. I have to complete all those before I start the next. That's a critical point. So critical path must be maintained. Then only you can get the correct estimate. But even then, there can be a slight adjustment. But the critical path is very important in the program, so that contractor or the engineer also is watching. But he might to complete by on this particular day. This has to be completed before he comes to the next item. So that is my answer to your question.
Right? Okay, thank you, sir.
Fine.
Next question. As per the guideline, price adjustment is mandatory for the contracts exceeding 3 months duration. Hence, no prohibitions to adapt the price adjustment for smaller contracts.
Wait. Now even small contracts, price adjustment is applicable. What do you mean by small contract? Now there are now contracts up to what we call SBD01 up to 10 million, 100 million, like that. So that those who are using this SBD03, price adjustment must be paid.
Yeah, and also, sir, I need to.
No, no,
excuse,
the
sir.
point is this, that now, I don't want to mention the name, but there's a small contract, less than 5 million. He has crashed the, what do you call, time period in order to avoid price escalation. But actually, it is taking more than that. So very unfair. Now, it's small contracts. Now, I saw that your circular. If the employer wants, he can do a lesser duration. Now, especially in the small contractors, that should be allowed, right? There's no two words in that, because definitely they are facing a situation.
Yeah.
So if it is 3
and
months,
also, sir, yeah. And also, sir, this 3 month is mentioned in the document, what you call, manual and the guidelines. And also, for the smaller contractors, there are 2 formulas at the SPD 3. I think that's why he was asking through 2 formulas.
That has been given. Now I showed you that small and medium scale contract Southern Province. The NPA has given the authority. If you want, he can pay it for the lesser duration. Now, especially in these days, it be mandated, right? That they should be paid from the very beginning. Okay, fine.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. The next question is the small part of site possession is not handed over. Will it cost to claim for the whole project?
Now
that is, I think, under possession of site.
That possession of site, sometimes he will not. Sometimes they will be given sections. So if there's a delay on that particular section, you can claim. Now you take a road. You are not going to the entire road. They are given by 5 kilometers or that section by section, right? Then that is how the sections are given, and based on that, if there's any delay, or what is the question, Hima? If there's any delay, right? So on that particular day, if they are not handing over, there's a delay for you. Yes.
Oh, he say, will it cost to claim for the whole project?
No, you can't claim for the whole project. For that, now he has been given for the section by section, right? Now only thing, that question is not clear, very clear, right?
Yeah.
Now if the site question is not given, you have to get a claim for that, because your labor materials all are now standing there. But his site has not been given. Now he has been asked to commence work on such as a day.
Yeah.
So if the employer and the concern are not given, that's definitely there's a claim for this contract, right? Okay, fine.
Thank you, sir. The next question. Thanks for talking CEDA documents and FIDIC in illustration. In interpreting SBDs, can we refer to FIDIC?
No, only thing that
tricky question.
No, I have taken this FIDIC also because there are certain especially now regarding the employer duties and all that, FIDIC conditions allow now in the Sri Lanka procurement guidelines. You read the 8.13.4 the employer කියලා කතාවක් කියනවා. Employer කියලා කතාවක් කියනවා. clause 8 කියන්නේ එහෙමයි. Employer had the empower to issue variation. හරිද? එහෙම කිව්වට දැන් මේක චෙක් කරා NPA එකෙන්. ඒතර NPA එකෙන් කියනවා no, he can't do that unilaterally. The employer can't do unilaterally. He must get the consent from the contract. He can't ask to do this, that, all that. So employer, because I told you that earlier also, employer is asking all that. But the issuing of the variation order should be in line with the conditions of contract, not in the guideline. Guideline, but issue of the variation order is with the given the conditions of contract. I hope I have answered that question, your question.
Okay, sir. In top of that, I need to mention one thing, because regarding SBDs.
Yeah.
So when you read the SBD guideline, within the SBDs, there are the guide note for there. In that guide note, it is mentioned the relaxation only for the intergovernmental projects and the foreign funded project to use their standard document. Under that provision, they can use FIDICO, JICO, any other document. There is intergovernmental and the foreign funded. Foreign funded means the intergovernmental funded. So other than that, I need to mention the Construction Industry Development Act number 33 of 2040 says under 46, the specified standard document has to be used by qualified person and also by the contractor. So if you need to deviate from that, you have better to get the consent of SIDA, that is the previous ICTAR. So it will be a punishable offense. So nowadays SIDA will publish the public note, and also in near future some circular will be come. So if the amending no, the deviating from the SIDA SBDs, this has to get the consent from the SIDA.
That is quite correct. Because today the general conditions are they are changed right. So this is very, very unfair, and that leads to all the claims, everything issues are there. Finally, it is who is the victim? The public is the victim. So that's what I told the TC members must get those things very much clear that all those things. For example, a variation. Why it has not been seen at the forcing stage? Why are you asking now? Is there an error in the VOQ? Right? So the TC members must question the consultant. Is the standard body document, have your due changes fall in line with the guideline? If it is not so, that they must not approve that document. They are approving and then coming up with the issues. All that finally somebody is paid. That is the issue in the country today. General conditions are changed, as mentioned by you. That should be stopped. Right. Okay.
Thank you, sir. The next question is: should extension of time be approved only by tender board? Can the employer give permission for EOT provided the quantity and the price remains within the approval limits?
No. Wait. Now, the engineer is the person who has been given the authority on these variations and times and all those things, right? Now you heard, I heard something about tender board. What is that? Can you explain what is that tender board?
He's asking, should the extension of time be approved only by the tender board?
No. I'm asking, has it in the conditions of contract?
No.
Engineer will now this issue is this. Engineer recommends and engineer approves. That's as per the conditions of contract. Now this question is, they're talking about a tender board.
Yeah.
I don't know where it links with the tender board, right? If engineer is the person authority for the approval of variation, recommending an approval. So he's asking now, where does this conditions? Where does this tender board comes here? I have also seen 1 or 2 cases, right? Engineer is the authority. Extension of time, indirect completion date will be approved by the engineer. You read the clause.
Okay, sir. And another.
Right? Now that this has been sorted out correctly. Yeah. Now, I just mentioned about the variation committee, right? So that I have no objection, but it should be done within that period. Now, what is this tender board doing on this matter? Tender board, what is it? That means when the contract asks for a extension or the cost, tender board is given the approval. Even in the procurement guidelines, they are not talking about that, right?
And also there's
this question must be cleared. There's
another ambiguity in this question. Excuse me. And also he's asking, can the employer give the permission for the EOT?
No. Wait. Employer can't give the permission, all that. Engineer will consult the employer and the contractor. Contractor submit something, time and cost. If we submit that, the engineer will consult. Engineer will meet the contract and the consultant separately and discuss about that. Especially, you must tell the employer best practices. Then after that, he will determine and he will issue that letter. now courses are specific approval කියලා. Specific approval එක කියන්නේ except for emergency, right? The right to then conditions of contract ගත්තම ඔය කතාව ඔක්කොම තියෙනවා. Now මේ employed ඔතන කියන කතාවක් මට agree වෙන්න බෑ. හරිද? tender board එකක් කතා කරන්න අවශ්‍යකමක් නැහැ. දැන් මේ engineer කියලා කියන්නේ that's a qualified firm. දැන් නිකම් කතාවක් නෙවෙයිනේ. හරිද? ඒගොල්ලෝ තමයි මේ දැන් විශේෂයෙන් මේ time and cost ගත්තම ඒකට උත්තර දෙන්නේ engineer representative back.
Sir, excuse me.
Yeah.
We shall mention him to read this SBD to engineer determination, so he can get some idea. That
Now I want to know. Now you have now. I will contact him if we can get the telephone number. Then I will speak with on this matter carefully. Right?
Okay, sir.
Very good
Thank you,
question
sir.
that
Let's
you are
go.
asking, but that should be cleared. Right? What is this tender board activity? Then අලුත් guideline එකේ තිබුණා ඔහොම ප්‍රශ්නයක්. That we mismatching of conditions of contract and all those things I saw. I think that was not approved. In fact, the IESL written regarding this mismatching. Right? එතන කතා කරන committee එක. Right? In the 2018 guidelines. IESL has written to the regarding the procurement commission, don't approve these things. What is this committee? Engineer is the person who is responsible for that. Firm එකක් ගත්තම එතන ඉන්න accountants, auditor ඒක කාණ්ඩයක් තියෙනවා engineer firm එකේ. What is this tender board is coming and doing? What is this work?
Okay, sir. Shall we move to the next question, sir? There's another
yes,
good
correct.
question.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is from the Lalit Rohan, engineer Lalit Rohan. In ADB funded projects, ADB, Asian Development Bank, I think, do not allow to include price escalation for project where the project's period is less than 18 months. Is it fair?
Wait, my answer I will give you right. Okay. If the SAC I have just showed that read that circular, the multi-regional banks have taken a decision, right? If the inflation high in this country, it should be paid from the very beginning. Now today in these days, and I can show that that circular to them. Only thing I'm right, I would have read that. If there's an inflation is high, definitely escalation must be paid from the very beginning, even when the FIDIC or JICA. That decision was taken by in a conference in 2005 by the multi-regional banks. Now he said 18 months, right? My letter says 12 months. But anyway, if the inflation is high in this country, as you know, it should be paid from the very beginning. There's no question. Two questions. I can guarantee that answer. If they want, I can show that letter to the ADB or JICA. Can contact me. Right. Okay. Fine.
Okay, sir. Next question is same like the previous question. In general, PRM, meeting of minutes prepared by engineer. Are there any rule for time period for circulate MOM? The same question.
Okay, same, but anyway, right? I am asking the engineer, why are you delaying that? Why are you the DELA? Why? What is the issue? Prepare and give it because they'll have to read these things and take some sort of action, but as this described. Not a time period. Right? But anyway, that's best practice. He must quickly give within that somebody asks him within a week. That should be given. Right? Okay, fine.
Okay, sir. Thank you. The request, there's Shakya Mohammed. He's asking, I didn't register. Please give me the contact number or mail. I don't get the presentation. Okay, we will try to give it to you.
We'll get his name and we'll see. There's no issue, right? I can. Okay. We can issue that, right? So why he couldn't register because there's a right. Okay, fine.
Next question is, please note is DLP but not DNP difficult. This was already answered by, I think. There's another question. Due to present financial crisis and lack of credit facilities from supplier, that contractor find difficult with the available advance payment provisions. Give your comment on special advance payment to perform progress with a bank bond.
That's right. Now, that only thing. Now, this is a question that has to be answered by the Treasury, because now we are asking some additional payment and all that. Unless it has gone through the ICTAD and get the permission, these days that definitely has an issue. But we don't know how much and all that. So I can't answer that question because on this COVID period, all those things happening, right? Otherwise, normal way that should have, that is in the normal way, they are given 20%. But I saw in the new circular, for contracts less than 50 million, they are given 30%. But the contractors say, we don't want 30%, at least see that my monthly bill is paid. When I go to collect that 30%, I have to pocket so much money for the bank. Please ensure that monthly bill is paid for the small contractors. I don't want that. Now he's telling me, I don't want 30%, even 20%. 20% means I don't pay commission to the bank. Except for CGF, no collateral, right? What he says is, pay me when I put my bill immediately. That is the answer, right? Okay, fine. Next one.
Okay, the question is, as per the procurement manual, the authority limits of tender board differ from minor goods or works and major goods or works.
Right.
How major works and minor works are differentiated?
No, that is not the issue. But the manual guideline and the manual has given the amounts that should be, what do you call, his question is
0 to,
right.
Yeah,
because that is given in the authorities under 2.14 something like that, I can remember. And also it is covering an FR 135. That is covering FR 135, and also given in the manual how the heads of department, various boards, authorities, limits have been given. Right? Okay, the answer is there. Go to the manual and see that it is the latest one is 2.14. I saw in the supplementary latest amounts will be done by the each tender board. Right? Okay, fine.
Okay, sir.
Next one.
So authority limits are given in the manual. That's his comment.
Yes,
so regarding, there's another thing, they are sharing their email addresses. So, sir, the thing is, I think now the contract will be terminated and suspensions were happening due to this lack of financial situation. What is your opinion? And there are a lot of discrepancies and dispute were arisen because of permanent payment upon terminations. So sometimes they will recover all the performance bonds and everything and some percentages. So please be enlightened this forum, this what shall be in the termination, in the point of termination.
Rahul, now that question is, now I have told about this termination. When you terminate, the Treasury has correctly has given two things. Conditions are contractual, make a hurry or nah. Now then guide conditions are contracts, public finance circular kiyanama, a performance bond, advance bond, precision performance guarantee ගන්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා employer කියනවා employer ministry එකෙන් කියනවා employer is the contract period realistic කියලා අහනවා. දෙවෙනි එක අහනවා, has the contractor abandoned the project deliberately and perpetually? එහෙම නැත්නම් එපයි කියලා කියන්නේ. ඉතින් මෙතන ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙන්නේ ඒක එතන contractor වැටෙන ප්‍රශ්නේ වෙන එකක්. දෙකන්ත දැන් ඔය අනවශ්‍ය විදිහට ඔය performance guarantees call කරලා තියෙනවා. බොහොම වැරදි වැඩේ. දැන් මෙතන public finance එක කවුරු අහගෙන ඉන්නවා මේක හොඳ කතාවක් මේක. හරිද? දැන් මට දැන් මම කතා කරනකොට කිව්වෙත් ඒකයි. එයාගේ ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් සුත් ඉවරයි. 100ක් 50යි 75යි 80යි ඔක්කොම අරන් performance guarantees. එදා ඇවිල්ලා ඔය building clinic එකට. right? okay. building clinic එකට ඇවිල්ලා හිටියා. ඉතින් මේ ඒ කිව්ව කතාව. ඉතින් අනවශ්‍ය විදියට මේ terminate කරන්නේ මොකද මේ දවස්වල තියෙන ප්‍රශ්න හැටියට කල්පනා කරලා කටයුතු කරන්න. මම කියන්නේ ඒව වැරදි වැඩ because දැන් ඒ අඩු වශයෙන් ඒ ගන්න ප්‍රමාණයට වඩා ගන්න එකපයි කියලා තියෙනවා සර්කියුලර් එකේ. ඉතින් ඒක මේ දැන්ට බලපානවා. ඉතින් දැන් ඒක තේරුම් ගන්න ඕනේ මට ඒකට උත්තරයක් දෙන්න බැරි කාරණේ මොකද ඒක ගවර්න්මන්ට් එකත් එක්ක ට්‍රෙෂරි එකත් එක්ක තියෙන සම්බන්ධයක්. පබ්ලික් ෆිනෑන්ස් එකත් එක්ක. හරිද? මට කියන්න තියෙන්නේ පබ්ලික් ෆිනෑන්ස් එකෙන් සර්කියුලර් එකක් දීලා තියෙනවා. Excavation given. They are in different methods of function they are explaining. But this has to be that definitely from a collective decision from the ICTAR, you should go to the Director of Public Finance. All right? Okay, fine.
Okay, final question. I think the SBD is the SBD of SIDA is not very suitable in the present context. The ADB JICA SBD is very concise. Giving the part of bidding separately and contract part separately, what happened to the revised SBDs?
That you can ask that question. Himal?
Yeah, because there's one question was okay, I can answer it. And also
make a standard bidding documents කියලා තියෙනවා දැන් how to use that. මම කියන්නේ මේකයි. SBD 0 1 2 3 4 එක මම දැන් කතා කරන්න කැමති නැහැ 4 එක වැරදි විදියට යන්නේ. දැන් 1 එකයි 2 එකයි 3 එකයි ගත්තම මේ දැනට මේ municipal council එතකොට provincial council එතකොට ඒ තැන්වල වැඩ කරන තැන්වල government එකේ වුණත් පුළුවන් more than sufficient. ඔතන ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙන්නේ they are changing the content. that is the issue. වෙන මොකද ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. ඔය පොත් තුන හොඳටම ඇති. මේ රජයේ වැඩ කරන්නේ. හැබැයි contents මාරු කරනවා. යන්නේ එතනයි වැරද්ද.
So
මම දැන් මේ දැනුත් මම මේ කියන්නේ public finance එක කවුරු අහගෙන ඉන්නා මේ වැඩේට වහින්න ඕනේ. ප්‍රශ්නේ එතන තියෙන එකයි. ඒවා මාරු කළා they are creating issues, dispute claims, ultimately some taxpayer has to pay all the burden of that. So that this has to be must be sorted out correctly with the right. And I had told the director development and what I should do. I will try. So that is my answer.
Okay, so thank you, sir, for that. Yeah, revisions. I need to add something because SPD 2 and 4 was revised. So this was take huge time that the persons who undertake, they were resigned, and the circular that in 2090 we managed to submit this for the draft evaluation to mention when we drafting something, we get the what you call expert service from our three professional bodies and the ministries and those there. They IESL also be part of that, ISLIA and other professional institute. So that document was into that time in 2090, the National Procurement Council were there. Then government was suddenly changed. Then it came as NPC was dissolved. Then it's sent to the what you call this public finance. Then we got the approval in the beginning of the March of this last year. But there are some amendment proposed for the dispute clause. Because of that, it was in near future, this SBD 4 and 2 will be revised version will be published. That's the message from for that question. Okay, sir. I think there is no any questions. Okay, there's one. Due to inflation situation, most of the contract scope change. Therefore, it's allowed to revise input percentage provided in the contract documents.
What is the question?
Due to inflation situation, this crisis situation, most of the contract scope was changed. Therefore, it's allowed to revise the input percentage provided in the contract documents.
දැන් ඔය clause 13.8 එකේ තියෙනවානේ දැන් එහෙම එකක් වෙලා if there's anything some sort of that this percentage can be changed කියලා 13.8 එකේ තියෙනවා if it is unreasonable, right, unworkable, can be changed because when the scope of work is given, different materials are going up and down. So that means definitely that should be allowed. The clause is 13.7 again, right? 13.8 if it is become unworkable due to scope of work, this should be indices that should be allowed to change. Already it has been done in some department. Okay, fine.
Okay,
next one.
So there's one question we consider it last question. SBD does not provide for dealing with when several contracts are published at the same time.
Again?
The question says SBD does not provide for dealing with when several contracts are published at the same time. I am not clear also. Again, SBD does not provide for.
You can answer.
I don't know clear again. Does not provide for the dealing with when several contracts are published at the same time. I don't know what the point.
No.
Okay,
No.
sir.
Right.
Anyhow, so we shall. Are there any? Shall
No
we
more
go for
questions.
another?
Right.
More questions.
Some
Only the.
participants are there. Is there anything that you can ask me now?
Oh,
Some participants are there.
okay, sir.
Right. Then we'll call
Wind
up
up.
for the day. Then you will arrange for the balance thing. I will come back with the circulars. I see where it has gone wrong in this one. Right. So I will come back with all the circulars.
And
right?
also
Okay.
also sir, and during this chat, I wish to thank RBM Bandara sir. He already answered some questions. I think.
Good. Yes. Fine.
He was the. I was thinking he was our previous director who worked for the advisory service division. That's why he was having quite good answers. I thankful to him. Yeah. I thankful to him because he was given some answers. Because of that, our questions will be limited. So so I wish to in this moment convey the our gratitude for the speaker, Engineer Brigadier Perrasa. So in a very few moment of time, we were asked from him to do such events, so he was accept our event. And also I wish to thank the management of IESL and also President IESL Dr. Kamal Laksiri and also President-elect Professor Ranjit Disanayak sir, and also our enthusiastic our team leader as also our chairman Kamala Gunawardana madam, and also the all committee members. Last but not least, the IT section, and also this Chamila and other persons who support to success this event. I think more than 100 participants were there. I think because of the long time duration, they were, I think, because of the time situation, they were left it out. But anyhow, we wish to plan the next event in physically within few months. So thank you very much, sir. And also we wish to thank those who are participate this event and get their knowledge, keep it up. Thank you, and have a pleasant evening. Thanks.
Right. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.